Hey everybody. So I've been thinking today that I've been doing a lot of talk on my channel about spirituality, but I haven't really talked to you a whole lot about exactly what it is that I believe or what I practice as my spirituality. So I thought I'd make this video about that. So a little bit of background first. I was born in a Christian family. My father was a minister for a long time, and my family was pretty liberal, or my parents were pretty liberal. They were college students when I was conceived, and so so they were progressive or liberal Christians. That was their viewpoint, and that was how I was raised. So I was raised in church through the early part of my life. And then I'd say when I was in middle school, I started having a lot of questions and changing my views on God specifically. I started thinking that maybe God wasn't this person who lives up on a cloud somewhere and makes things happen. Um, those kind of ideas and those kind of questions kind of percolated in my mind for a long time. Um, and then I quit going to church when I was in my teenage years, and but I still thought about spirituality a lot, and my thought slowly evolved, and I started forming more and more questions about Christianity and the Bible and God and the teachings of Jesus. Um, from doubting if the whole thing was even real to just wondering about different aspects of it, like the idea that that one of the first things that came to my mind is things that happened in the Bible. Did they actually happen? Is it history, or is it like a poetic stories that are told to us to convey meanings um, and things like that? So those kind of thoughts came and went, and some were answered and some I still have. But so after a while, around that time, I discovered meditation and started thinking about meditating, and I would meditate sometimes. I don't know if you could actually even consider it true meditation, but I'd sit for periods of time, not very long, but I didn't really make it a practice. Um, so I kind of stayed in that kind of same frame of mind. I believed in God. I'd meditate every now and then, uh, but I had a lot of questions about spirituality for a long time. And then I grew up and became a man, and I moved out here to North Carolina, where I live now. And when I moved out here, I was struck by the nature all around me. There's trees everywhere, huge, vast forests, and then the ocean's close by too, to where I live. Um, and I was really struck by the feeling that there was spirit or divinity in the woods, in the nature. So I'd spend a lot of time out in nature around that period of time. Well, I've always really liked nature and always spent a lot of time in it, but this particular time of my life, I was really out in nature a lot. And I met a friend named Jody, one night he pointed out to me, we were talking about auras, and he pointed out to me that you can see auras in trees. It was at nighttime, and we were walking along a tree line, and he told me to look up at the tops of the trees, and I did. And he said, "Now, do you see light coming off the tops of the trees?" And yeah, I did. So I right away was able to see auras, and that developed from there, um, and gave me more and more of a belief that everything has an aspect of spirit to it. And it shines out from them. It's their energy, their primal life force. So then I went through a lot of trying to get closer and closer to nature and trying to make that my religion. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't read very many books on what I was doing. It was a paganistic practice, but I didn't know what it was. I thought of it as a primitive religion, and that was what I was doing. So I'd go out and take off my clothes and lay in a stream or climb a tree, just all kinds of things to try to get closer and closer to nature. And I'd spend lots and lots of time out in the woods, just walking around and feeling that energy that's in nature. And also when I'd go to the beach, I was always really conscious of the energy that was there and the spirit that was there. So I had more and more times of practicing meditation for a little bit, and then I came to a point in my life where I realized that I really wanted to do my best to be a good person and to try to do the right thing. So, and around that time, I became really aware that I had divinity inside of me, and that was when I became aware of what I call my light that shines inside of me. I always feel it right in here, sometimes very strongly, well, sometimes extremely strongly. So from there, things were going pretty good, and then I came to a point where I don't know exactly why, but I just kind of let desire and the physical world take over me, and I pretty much, well, I didn't forget all about spirituality, but I sure wasn't practicing any, and I was just trying to get what I wanted at the time. And so living like that, things got kind of rough and not so good. And eventually I met a very toxic person and let her into my life, and she really wreaked havoc on me. But it all came out good, and I think it all happened for a reason, to turn me around. And so a lot of bad things happened, and some good things came out of it all. My son being born, his mother left us, and then we started going to a church because I felt like my son should have some type of a spiritual education and spiritual background like I did. And so we started going to this church. It was a Christian church, and during that time I did a lot of other exploration of the spiritual realm, researching different things, a lot of research on meditation and Buddhism, and also, and that's when I started practicing more meditating, and also got into vegetarianism, which I had also practiced some in the past before this point. Um, but but then I went back to eating meat, and then so since then I've had my off and ons. I'm pretty much completely vegetarian now. But anyway, um, another thing that I found that I believed and that I liked a lot of was neo-paganism and eclectic witchcraft. Um, I found that a lot of beliefs I could really resonate with, like the idea of God not necessarily as a man, but as a woman, or a woman and a man, or many men and many women, deities, um, and then also I agree with the idea that the divine is in nature. I believe in um, observing the wheel of the year and the changes of the seasons. The idea that everything has vibration and energy to it, and thus can help you along your way, um, and help change your vibration. And then there's other ideas, the laws of the universe, the law of attraction, the law of polarity, rhythm, all those laws I agree with and I think are very much at work in the universe. So I agreed with a lot of what I found there and found a lot of beauty in the rituals too. At first, as far as magical spells, I felt like I wasn't sure about them, but I did know that psychologically they had good, uh, I saw the potential for a lot of good as far as it went psychologically. Like some of the spells, in a way, worked on the mind, um, much like psychodrama does, to help you deal with old emotions and develop new emotions and kind of get on with it, so to speak. Um, and then I also, as far as spells went, found them to be much like prayers, um, and found them as ways of changing or manipulating the energy that's already flowing, to make it benefit you or more beneficial towards you. There's healing practices, things like that, that I very much believe in and think that are real. And I've seen a lot since then, and it's given me more and more faith in it. So so I kept meditating, and eventually I had more and more questions about the Christian faith and felt more and more discontent with the church. One thing is that I feel like a lot of Christians, and this is obviously true, but they really don't follow the teachings of Jesus, or don't even know the teachings of Jesus, of his love, his message of love and tolerance. But there were some things in the Bible that Jesus says, according to the Bible, which I think has been manipulated quite a bit by the powers that be at different points in time, to achieve more power over the working class. But I feel like his message kind of had some anti-Semitic views that, or easily were led to some anti-Semitic views that were devastating to the Jewish people. Um, and then the idea that Jesus is the only way, I disagree with that. There's very many people of different religions that are very fine people and very fine souls that I feel definitely will go on to the afterlife um, and be at bliss. Um, and there's other things. The idea that people are born into sin. What is it called? The idea in Genesis that the Adam and Eve, because of them, that all people are born into sin and are born innately evil. No, I don't believe that. But so I had more and more questions about that, and then I'm an artist, and I became intrigued by tarot cards, the artwork on them. So one day I went to a metaphysics shop and talked to a young lady about tarot cards, and I became fascinated with them, and I started taking classes at this shop on witchcraft, and since then I've met a lot of friends and am now in a circle of witches and pagans, and I'm actually in the second stage of the stages that we go through. Where I'm at is called a neophyte. It involves a lot of meditation and a lot of soul searching about what it is we actually believe as an what I actually believe as an individual. And after that, I'll be actually declared a witch. I also believe in meditation a lot and Hinduism. I believe in reincarnation, in karma and working karma to better your life and to better your next life. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I don't think I have anything to add. So I hope you've enjoyed this chance to get to know me a little bit better, and namaste.